All right, so 5.4. All right, it says in the last section, we determine the slope as the ratio of the y values to the x values. So the formula for this is going to be, well, first of all, the symbol for slope is right here. It's a m. Right there. So m, whenever you see that lowercase m, that's the symbol for slope. And again, we'll use this as like a fraction bar here. So on the top, you subtract the y values. I'm going to write y2 minus y1. And on the bottom, you subtract the x values. So you're going to do x2 minus x1. You guys okay with that? Here, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. So you just subtract the y's on the top and the x's on the bottom. That's it. All right, so the first example is right there. So we're going to use that formula. So usually when I do this formula, I'll write like m equals, and I'll put the fraction bar and I'll put the subtraction in there. So you guys tell me, what are the two y values? 5 and 1. So here's your two y values right here, right? 5 and 1. So on this one, let's do it. I'll do it 1 minus 5. So I'm going to subtract the two y values. So I'm going to do 1 minus 5. And then, what are my two x values? 2 and 8. But if I started with that second point, do you see how I started with a 1 minus 5? Then I got to be consistent, so I got to do 8 minus 2. All right, and then we just work that out and we got it. So we've got what? 1 minus 5, that's negative 4, over 8 minus 2 is 6. And then you should reduce this, so divide both of those numbers by 2, and we get negative 2/3. And then remember to think graphically still, right? If you're thinking about the graph, from any point on the graph, you would start and you would go down to, remember the top number tells you how far you go up or down. If it's negative, you go down. So you would go down 2, and then the bottom number tells you go right 3. But that is our slope. Okay? Then on the next one, I think they want you to do it with 2 points, but if you got the graph, let's just do it like we did before. So number 2 here, let's find a couple points that cross right on the grid. So I would say maybe like this point right here and this point right here. And again, we're going to go from the point on the left to the point on the right. So we're going to go up that way and then over that way. So how far did I go up? Yep, and again, we always go left or right. So we went up 4, and then we went right. How many? Well, I was right here. If I'm right there, I'm going to go right 1, 2. So to me, it looks like it's up 4, right 2. So we can just write our slope down. The top number tells us how far we went up or down. We went up 4, so it's a positive 4. And then the bottom number tells us how far we went to the right, which is 2. And then if we reduce that, we get 2 over 1. That's our slope. All right, the next one. So number 3, we can pick any 2 points. These are like 4 points on the same line, okay? So what ones do you want to pick? What points do you guys want to pick? You only need 2 of them, right? You don't need all 4 of them. Lucas, what do you think? What should we pick?
All one.
What would you pick?
I guess the 0 and the 1.
You want to pick the 0 and the 1? I'll pick the other one. I'll pick this one. So we're going to use those 2 points. All right, so again, we're going to draw this fraction bar with the subtraction. And then, actually, let me write down these points for you guys. Maybe I'll do that for you. So the 2 points we're using are the points -2, 5, and the other one is the point 0, 1. Now, some people like to label all this stuff. They'll say, like, that's x1, that's y1, this is x2, that's y2. So if you like doing that, you can, because then they'll use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if you want to do that, you can. But generally what I do is I just make this fraction bar with the subtraction, and then I'm going to put the y's on top. So what are my y values? 5 and 1. So let's go that way. So my x value, what did I say? My y values, right? My y values are 5 and 1. So I'm going to do 5 minus 1. And then what are my x values? Yeah, and I got to go in that order, right? If I started with this point to get the y value of 5 right here, then I need to start with this point's x value, or x coordinate. So I'm going to do -2 minus 0. Oh, I didn't say that. That's my x value right there. This is my other x value. Okay, so anyway, so my x values are -2 and 0. All right, then we just subtract. So we get 5 minus 1 is 4. And on the bottom, we got -2 minus 0. That's -2. So what does that reduce to? Anybody? What's that? Sorry, I got a fan running back here. I still can't hear you.
2 over -1.
Yeah, there you go. It's 2 over -1. It's actually just -2, right? 4 divided by -2 is -2. So I'm going to write it as -2 over 1. Because you remember how all year long I've been telling you to put that negative in the numerator? That's why. Because I knew we were going to do this eventually. So that's your slope. Yeah, so technically that would reduce to 2 over -1. But whenever we have a negative in a fraction, we're going to write in the numerator. And the reason we do that again is because now this tells me that this numerator now being negative tells me that I got to go down 2, right? Remember, the number on top tells you how far you go up or down. If it's negative, you go down. So this would be down 2. And then this bottom number tells you how far you go to the right. So that would be right 1. So if you were thinking graphically, if you were at any point on the graph, to get to the next point, you would just go down 2, right 1. All right, do we got another one? No, that was it for that part. All right, and then these right here. I'm not sure what they want for this blank here, or this third blank. I have no idea what they want. But we already learned how to find the intercepts from last section, right? That was on Monday. And then we only need 2 points to find the slope, so we're just going to find the intercepts and then do the slope formula. So if you guys are given an equation like we are here, so on number 4 here, we have an equation in standard form. So what we're going to do is find 2 points, and we're going to do that by making that little table that we did on Monday when we were doing the whiteboards. We're going to plug in 0 for x and 0 for y. So if I plug in 0 for x, I would have a 0 right here, right? What's 4 times 0? 0. So that's gone. Now, divide both sides by -2. What do you get for y?
-8.
Yep. So this is -8. All right. Then we're going to plug in 0 for y. So if we plug in 0 for y, that's going to go in right. We're taking that 0 for y and we're putting it in right there, right? What's -2 times 0? That's 0, so that's gone. Divide both sides by 4, what do we get for x? We get 4. Well, now we can do our slope formula, right? So to do our slope formula, we're just going to use those 2 points. So again, we're going to set this up. We're going to write the slope is, I'm going to make my fraction bar and my 2 subtractions. What are my y values?
0 and -8.
Yeah. Now, if you look at this chart, these are your y's, right? They go on the top. So we're just going to do -8 minus 0. And then my x values are what?
4 and 0.
Well, I did it the other order, but yeah. 0 and 4, right? So we just put in 0 and 4. And then we get -8 minus 0, that's -8. 0 minus -4 is -4. So what does that reduce to?
2.
Just 2. Or 2 over 1 if you want. So that's my slope. All right, same thing on number 5. We're going to make the little table again. All right, we're going to plug in 0 for x. So I'm putting a 0 in right here. What's 0? 3 times 0. So that's gone. Now solve for y. What do you get?
6.
Yeah, you divide both sides by 2, you get y equals 6. Then we're going to plug in 0 for y. So if we put in 0 for y, that's going to be 2 times 0 right there. What's 2 times 0? That's 0, so that's gone. So solve that, what do you get? Yep, divide both sides by 3, you get x equals 4. Then we're just going to use our slope formula again. So we're going to write m equals, put our 2 subtractions in there. What are our y values?
6 and 0.
6 and 0. What are our x values?
0 and 4.
Good. So we get 6 minus 0 is 6. 0 minus 4 is -4. Then if we reduce that, divide them both by 2, we get what?
3 over 2.
3 over 2, but it's got to be negative, right? It's a positive over a negative, so it's got to be negative. Where do I put the negative?
On the bottom.
Yep, put the negative on the top. If you put the negative on the top, again, that'll tell you that when you look at your graph, you're going to go down 3, right 2. So that's your slope. I think we're almost done, are we? We got one more of these or no? Yep. Yeah, we got number 6. We got number 6. Same thing again. Real quick. We'll make the chart. We're going to find our x-intercept and our y-intercept. We plug in 0 for x. We put 0 in right there. What's 4 times 0? That means that's gone. That's 0. Divide both sides by 5. We get y equals 4. Then we're going to plug in 0 for y. So we're going to put a 0 in right there. What's 5 times 0? So then that's gone. That's 0. Divide both sides by 4. We get what? 5. All right, now we're going to do our slope. So to do our slope, M stands for slope. We're going to do our fraction bar, put our subtractions in there. What are our y values? 4 and 0. What are our x values? So then we get our slope is 4 minus 0 is 4. 0 minus 5 is -5. That one does not reduce, but we want to put that negative in the numerator, right? So it's going to be -4 over 5. So that's our slope. And again, now if you were thinking graphically here, That -4, that tells you to go where? If the numerator is -4, where does that tell you to go on the graph? Yep, down 4. And then the 5 on the bottom tells you to go where? Yep, right 5, good. All right, so that's it for that page, right? Yeah, the back is the same thing. So last problem is this one. So this says find the slope, so same thing, but then it said explain what it means. So on the x-axis, here, I'll zoom in so you can see when we do this. So on the x-axis, we have the time, right? That's the time in months. And on the y-axis, we have the cost in dollars. All right, so we're just going to do the slope. So we're going to set up our slope formula. And then I guess I can make those a little smaller. All right, so we're going to do, what are our y's? 12 and 24. It's these two, right? Those go on the top. Now the y value represents what? Look at the axis. You got to look at the y-axis here.
Cost.
That represents the cost in dollars. So that means this is going to be $24 minus, well, I guess, here, let me write it this way for you guys. Right, easier to go. $24 minus $12. And then what are my x values? Those are 2 and 4. And they represent time in what? What's that?
Month.
Time in what unit?
Month.
Months. So you're going to go 4 months. Minus 2 months. All right. So then if we simplify this thing, what's 24 minus 12?
12.
12. And then 4 minus 2?
2.
2. So we end up with 6. And that would be dollars over months, right? So we get a positive 6 here, dollars per month. That's our slope. So what does that mean?